2015. This is the Daily Call with Dave Weiner. Welcome to the call. Today's going to be fun. And for our adversaries, not so much fun. But we are going to be teaching some things here today. So we are going to show you how to replace a first-generation index life policy. And I have some experience with that because I replaced a few years ago maybe several hundred of these things. So I can tell you that it's possible. We're going to put one up here, and we're going to see what we can do, and then we're going to look at it from all generations. But there's a process when you go in someone's home when you're replacing a policy, and if you can process, I do not believe that this can be done virtual. I want to share that right now. I am not comfortable with saying that this can be done across the internet. I think this process has to be done in the home. And every time we find policies, whether it be an American Amicable policy, whether it be a Colorado Banker policy, or in this case, a first-generation UL, I think we're able to do some great things together. And let's take a look at this case. And this is an actual case, and I'm going to bring up a file here so you can watch how to do this. And we're going to go all the way to the first page. And we're going to have to rotate this a couple of times. And this is called an in-force illustration. I don't know if you've ever seen these from a company. You can order the person that owns the life policy is entitled to get an in-force illustration. This in-force illustration was done May 3rd, 2010. This is a real client, and what I've done here, I've scratched out their name, and you can see right here, at the time this in-force illustration was done in 2010, he was putting in $265,000 a year. He was born in 1953. He had $3,734,000 death benefit. Everybody buys policies for different reasons. He bought this policy to supplement his retirement. You can't think of a better reason to buy index life than to be a retirement supplement. And you can see right here, when we came in and did this review, his current cash value was $675,000. Now, there's a lot of people here in the room today. There's a lot of people watching this, and I got to ask the question: how many of you feel you could go into a home and get that client to give up $144,000 in surrender charges? So we're going to start with that. How many people would feel that that's next to impossible? How can you get a client to give up $140,000 to move to a new policy? And you've got your question mark sections that you can open up. I like some people to tell me what would make a person do that. What would, how much difference can there be? I had a person yesterday tell me that I was visiting with for Pauline, and he said all insurance policies are alike. And I said that's window dressing. That's craziness. Dale says to gain $150,000. Maybe people just liked me enough to lose $150,000 because they liked me and felt pity, wanted to give me commission. Now, Dale, I don't think that's probably what happened, but sense of humor this morning, folks. A little sense of humor. What would get a person to give up $144,000? Just asking. So the only comment I've got was to gain money. Another comment that was given was it sounds difficult. Francis asked questions. He gained it back in his new policy. It must be in the numbers. Cliff Anderson, we had Phoenix now. Phoenix couldn't replace this policy. Ah, there we go. Yamin, I love you. You are the man. Save on fees. Wow. And I didn't even get that far yet. You are, okay, impressive. So let's take a look at this. This is the old life insurance policy. And you can see right here, we're going to scroll down. He's got $98,000 of income. And I do a preview on every appointment. I don't care if I'm replacing a $200 a month one, $100 a month. The way I open my conversations, I'll tell you what we're going to do in the next 3 to 5 minutes. I'm going to show you what I did with past clients. Now, there's a psychology thing I was doing there. Most of these people only had $2,000 or $3,000, and I opened the conversation with a guy losing $144,000 to move his money. And, yeah, I knew exactly what I was doing. I wanted to show value at the most extreme numbers and then break it down to theirs. Because let's face it, I opened my conversation with this on every appointment I did replacing this company. And let's face it, folks, when I get done with this product right here, this is probably one of the worst index universal lives in the country. But at the time in 2010, and basically from 2003, this company had at one point a 46% market share in the sale of index life policies. And by the way, our agency was the #1 producer for 3 out of 4 years for the #1 seller of index life in the country. And yes, I sold this particular policy. It has no living benefits, which nobody thought about, but that's not that big a deal when you're talking about $675,000 in cash values that day. So let's just scroll into this thing and take a look at it. These are called expenses, and Yamin, you're amazing. The policy expense charges the first 10 years was $17,591 a year. Now, that's not untypical for the amount of money going in. And then the expense loads dropped to $8,142 a year to the age of 100. $8,142 to the age of 100. Can I do better? I think so. Anybody ever heard of LSW? I took his expenses from $8,000 to $60 a year. Do you think that that might make a difference? I'm just asking, do you think it might make a difference on the strain on the cash value if you're only charging $60 a year versus $8,000 a year? It's just a question. Hey, it's such a huge difference, it's not even funny. Now, I said, now what does that mean before I go into educating that person? But the process is, what that means, simply, is the first 4 years I got that same $50,000, but instead of $98,000, I got $138,000. The first 5 years to $3.7 million, I had to move you up to $5.3 million and change death benefit-wise. I got $138,000 of income, and the reason why was because of less strain. But now I'm going to educate you on what, folks, listen very carefully. I am going to educate you on what you own. And you're going to see today education. We are then going to run a new illustration reflecting your new policy, because I'm going to replace it just like I replaced that one. By the way, you're already teeing it up mentally from the first 3 or 4 minutes you're replacing a policy. I'm going to share a story which is not part of this. I went into a house against a 401k recently, and the guy says, I'm not buying, I'm not doing this. And I said, well, how much are you, I said, how much are you saving? A month. I'm putting away $600 a month. And I get matching funds. I go, good. I said, go get your checkbook. I had done this a few times in my career, but I just did this recently, and I got a kick out of it. He goes, what? I just told you I'm not doing anything. I says, go get your checkbook. And he says, why am I doing that? Are you afraid? So he brings out his checkbook, and I says, go ahead and make a check right now to LSW for $600. What? Make the check for $600. You don't have to hand it to me, but I'm going to tell you within 45 minutes you're going to give me that check. No, I'm not. Yeah, you are. Are you afraid to write it and give in? Go ahead, write the check. He goes, you got to be, it's just a piece of paper. Write out the check for $600. It's going to be okay. You said you're not going to give it to me. I say you're going to give it to me. And I went in and did my little thing. I did my little process. And when I got done, he goes, you are so arrogant. I go, why? I'm giving it a check. And I said, that's the way it should be. Because, folks, that's the gold mine you're sitting on. Every one of these policies that we're going to replace in the states of Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, Missouri, and Virginia, guess what they have in those homes? Anybody? What do they have in those houses? Ben Lazar, you're right. We already got the old policy. The norms right in front of me. We're sitting right there with the policy. The policy is a piece of cake. I know how to replace that today. But if you think that all I want is that policy, are you kidding? Who wants to become a superstar producer today? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It's all window dressing. Every time you get a referral from the P&C agency, every time you find an insurance policy in a place, who wants to be a stud muffin? I mean, a producer of extraordinary numbers. And I am talking about a person doing a minimum of $1,000 a week in monthly premium. Most weeks, $1,500 to $2,000 a week, if not more. Now I'm going to prove those numbers are realistic right now, beyond a shadow of a doubt. I've got people here that work in the what I call the school market, and they work in that 403B thing, and their average commission is like 7%. They don't. If they go out and sell a $100 a month premium, they make $7 a month. Everybody follow that? Can you live on a paycheck of $7? No, they go into these schools and they write 8, 10, 12 TSA sales, 403B plan sales, $300, $500, $600 a month. And at the end of the week, they've got $4,000, $3,000 in monthly premium. And even that is amazing. Let me get a sound check here that we got the sound back. Anybody? Okay, good. Yeah, we lost sound there, and I'm aware of that because the phone dropped the call. And that's not good, but that's AT&T for you. But I don't, because I was talking about the 403B market and talking about those numbers right there. These people are out there writing $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 of monthly premium a week. And when you bring that person into the IUL world, that same producer that was doing 403B, TSA type production, it is the same premium, whether it's 401K, 403B, TSA, it doesn't matter, it's the same premium, except it pays life-like compensation. So if you go out there and do $12,000 in a week of TSA premium, it's okay. What'd you make? You made 7%, so you made about $800 a week. $1,000 in life and made $9,000. Which do you prefer? I know for a fact they have to push and bring in those big numbers every week because of the lack of compensation. So they push harder than we do. They work extraordinarily hard at what they do. So if you master replacing 401K money and you get good at using your calculators, then just maybe, you're going to realize that these numbers we talk about are not so pie in the sky, that these numbers are your numbers. And you have to have a change of mindset. Like I said, from time to time, a Mike Ptolemy or Dave Weiner or maybe a Michael Andrews are going to find something. Andrews found a way into a school system. And I don't think he's going to work all 3,000 little teachers in Sacramento. But if you're wanting to split that business with Mr. Andrew, and he's able to develop 100, 200, 300 leads, and maybe he wants to work them all himself, I don't know. But from time to time, someone is going to bring a block of business to be moved, or people to be seen. And as long as you're willing to split the compensation with them and our team, then you can go ahead and do business with them. We're going to refer you so you constantly have sources. That's the whole point of being in property and casualty locations. It's referrals. I happen to have 450 of these policies in those states, and I found another about 800 more down by Bakersfield, California. Now, I'm not going to let just anybody go do it. You got to be a proven producer to me to be going anywhere. You got to be on the. You got to have your website set up. You got to have your a product of the product. You've got to have all your things in case, and I want you to be a producer. You've got to have gone through some of your people you've known, and you got to show you can do what we do. We're not just handing these out to anybody, ever. And we're going to find new blocks of business. I'm looking right now for 7,000 more Aviva policies, and I'm going to probably get my hands on it. And it's going to be in Texas and every state humanly imaginable. And we're going to use it as a stepping stone. You see, if all we did was write the business and not follow the steps, shame on me for not teaching it right. But I intend to turn every one of these policies into a machine that builds exponentially our business together. You're going to learn the closing line, same or more. You're going to learn to find that 401k money in that house. You're going to learn the magic of one question. Are you saving for retirement? Do you get matching funds and salivate when they say yes? Be excited when they say yes, because that is so powerful. Are you saving for retirement? Do you get matching funds? I can show you how to have 300% more income at retirement and not spend a penny more. Confidence in the voice. You go out there and learn to replace this Aviva junk, this policy right here. You replace that policy, and then next thing up is the question. And if they invite you to share and show, you follow the steps. And we have set steps. There's no mistaking each step in this system. Overnight, you become a $2,000 a week producer. Now that is not annual premium. That is monthly premium. That is $1 million premium a year status. And if you follow my steps properly, you will never, ever have to worry about prospecting ever again. You will be buried in prospects, every one of you. Our system is proven, it's predictable, and while I prefer you to have brick and mortar locations, and I hate the idea of you not being placed yet, I'm working on it, as you should be. But this part right here puts you in play. I need to know who wants to go to work, because we have, and I'm going to show you this, tons and tons and tons of in-force policies. You can see the list right here. These are all clients. Look at all those ones in Michigan. Slide out of Michigan. Let's go into Missouri. Wow. Ohio. Handful in Virginia. Look at that list in Virginia. How bad do you want to learn this? How bad do you want to excel and become now, today, a $2,000 a week producer? So over the next few days, we are going to coach you. We are going to mentor you. And there are things you're going to have to know how to do. You're going to have to do a preview. If you're going on these here, you're going to have to master the preview. Why? Because I want you to have the same kill ratio I have on them. That's called 100%. If that policy is in force, you should be able to take it out of that house 99.9% of the time. I only missed a couple of times because they became victims of strokes and cancers when I came in the house. And while I felt bad, that was reality. I did $2 million in production in 8 months and split off a bunch of it. I netted out $1.4 million working from May 1st to December of 2010. How much do you want to write between now and June 30th? Is there anybody that wants to take your spouse to France this year? Does anybody want to go to Cabo in 2016? All expenses for you and your significant other. Those are the trips to LSW. It only takes $100,000 in premium between now and the end of the year to qualify for Cabo. It takes $325,000 issued and paid by June 30th to go to Bordeaux, France. That's wine country in France. And why is trip so important to me? Well, that's part of the reason I work. So I can be with my significant other, to relax, be pampered, spoiled rotten. Because, you know, for most of us, life is a mundane. We go through it. We go through those phases. And when there's a chance to have somebody treat you special, to take you out of the daily routines and really appreciate you for all you've done, that's magical. But education-wise, there's a process. And that process is the same thing for replacing 401k money, replacing Aviva money. Step number 1 is the preview. And the way I introduce that preview is very simple. I'm sitting at the table. Hey, before we get started, I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste mine. I'm going to just take 3 quick minutes, and I am going to show you why we're doing these reviews. And I'm going to show you one of our clients, what we did for them. And then I'm going to educate you on your policy, how it works. Then we are going to run an illustration on the new plan. You're going to see the differences, and then you're going to be given a choice of staying at the same amount of money you're currently spending or being allowed to do more. And that's all we're going to get accomplished today. I might ask some questions at the end about your savings habits and stuff like that. But most people bought these policies, as I go back into this preview, most people bought these policies because they were going to do it to build money up for retirement. I'm pretty certain that that's why you bought it. This is an in-force illustration from the same company you have. Everybody's entitled to get an in-force illustration. Not necessary, but this is what one looks like. This was done 3 years after the guy bought his policy in May of 2010. You can see right here it's got a $3.7 million death benefit. And you can see right down here a couple of key things on this form right here. He has, at that time, $675,000 cash the day I went in his house. He bought it to put money up for retirement. If he quit the policy, he only gets to walk away with $531,000. He's going to begin his income the very next year at $50,000 a year, income tax-free, and then he was going to take out $98,000 a year. You can see those distributions right there every year until he retires. And you can see right there, they're taking out the income stream. Every year you get issued an annual cost of doing business. I don't know where your annual report is. I hope you can find it so I can show you what yours looks like. But this one right here, his annual report charges were $17,000 a year, and then they dropped down to $8,142. One of the reasons I'm able to do what we're doing right now is reducing your costs and fees, because fees can drain on your cash values. Just that simple. I'm going to show you how much of a difference we did. We took this $8,000 fee. It went all the way to age 100. And in year 10, in the new policy for him, you can see right here, we dropped his fees down to $60 a month. You can see we weren't at $17,000. It was $15,000, $16,000 a year. And then we dropped down from $8,000 to $60. Now, does that make a difference? Well, we think it did, because you can see right here in the illustration, we took out the same $50,000 for 4 years. So instead of $98,000 a year, we had $138,000 a year. There are a bunch of bells and whistles that are different from the old policy. Caps raised, different things happen, reducing costs. But that's the basics of it. And so when it was all done and said for him, there were 3 things that were going to happen. Number 1, if he died, no matter what happened, the changing of policies did not affect his widow. She got at least across the board the exact same money he would have had in the old policy. Number 2, this is the new type of insurance, released a portion of the death benefit up front. The old policy, the one you have right now, didn't release nothing. In the new policy, I was able to release $1 million up front if he got sick. The third thing was living. And forget the projections. You know, I'm costing my client $144,000. How do I recover that $144,000? Well, that $144,000 wasn't affected if he died, because they got the same amount of money. The $144,000 didn't come into play for that family when he got sick, because we're $850,000 to the good. And if we live, if my client lives 20, 30 years into the future, not based on getting $40,000 more a year, I recovered all my money on the contractual guarantees of $8,000 versus $60,000. I recovered it internally money I would have spent. This transaction didn't cost my client a penny because it did not affect his family if he died. It did not affect his family if he got sick. Now, let's take a look and see how your program works. Now, the first thing I'm going to show you is this little line right here. This is something you've been doing. Now, you may not be doing it in your retirement accounts at work, but you've been practicing it here. Which line do you prefer for your money, the blue line or the red line? Well, guess what? You're already on the blue line. Now, most people I talk to when they got 401ks and IRAs and retirement and money in the stock market, they're all playing in the red line. Somebody took the time a few years ago to educate you that you may not be stuffing it full of money, but you've got a blue line program. So let me show you how it works now. At that point, you're going to bring up the little calculator. And I changed the language a little bit on this one. You'll have to show me how to save this, Jerry, because I do not know how to save this file. My life depended on it. I looked up here on Excel for all the buttons, where to push them so I could save a file. You can see here, that's the red line person, and there's the blue line person. And your contract, by the way, does not have a cap of 13. You got a cap of about 10%. The new one today, the one we're putting you into today, has a cap of 13. But at any rate, over here is a person taking risk, and this is the person on the right taking no risk. I love this thing right here. I'm going to give you $100,000. He had $675,000, but we're going to go back 15 years ago and just give you $100,000 tonight. And in fact, I want to do something even better than that. I really want to be a nice guy today. I want to give you $1 million. I like $1 million. $1 million to me just sounds a little bit nicer. Better figure. I want to give you $1 million. Now, on the left side, if you were in the stock market $1 million, the last year Bill Clinton, you made 19.5%. I'm going to give you a contract. You already got one that says right now you get no losses, and you get up to 10%. Well, I want to give you a contract tonight that gives you all the gains up to 13, but this is how your contract works versus Wall Street. The last year of Clinton, you made 19.5%. In the stock market, you're up $1,195,000. With me, you didn't get 19, you got 13. You climbed to $1,130,000. Which one do you prefer, the 13% or the 19? Now, all our friends out there, all your neighbors, they're over on that left side. They're a red line saver. You already pointed that you wanted the blue line, so let's take a look. Now, in 2000, a dot-com implosion hit. You lost 10%. Not you. You got a zero. You're at $1,130,000 in holding. They're down to $1,074,000. The next year, okay, we had some bad people come into the United States, erode our markets by taking airplanes and flying them into the Trade Center. The 9/11 terrorist attack caused our markets to go down by 13% that year. That $1 million is now $934,000. Not you. You've got the magic. You've got a blue line contract. You're at zero again. The next year we had a recession of 23.37%. They're down to $715,000. And again, what did you get? Zero. Which do you prefer, the $1,130,000 or the $715,000? Now, the next year the markets exploded back up 26%, but 26% of what? It climbed to $904,000, but not you. You got 13. You got 13, and you climbed to $1,276,000. We then climbed almost 9% the next year, and you guess what? We got almost 9. 3 the next year. They had a smidgen more in 2006. By the time we got to the end of 2007, we had just got back to basically where we were the last year of Bill Clinton. And then Lehman Brothers and Fannie and Freddie and the whole world went topsy-turvy. The real estate bubble hit, and values plummeted in our 401k accounts again. You were down to 38%, but not on this side. you're still sitting at $1,676,000. Which do you prefer, the $1,676,000 or $731,000? Markets will come back. My broker told me I only lose if I sell. Well, you know what? He's right. Markets came back the next year and the next year, and we recovered our money. By the end of 2014, you finished at $1,674,000 versus over here $3 million. Now, the actual rate of return for that 15 years on the Wall Street side was 3.28. And the actual rate of return on the S&P 500, when you factored in those 4 losing seasons, was 7.2. That difference means I was sitting on $3 million, 82% more money. But that's not the rest of the story. But right there and then, you got to realize the first thing that you've had for all these years, if you failed to put a lot of money in it, you're not like this doctor guy who's been stuffing of hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some people learn the magic of these contracts. Well, the first piece of magic that you probably didn't realize is you're not exposed to losses, but you get all the gains of the stock market. That's kind of exciting, isn't it? Well, now let's factor in some reality. There's fees. The average fees on a 401k are right at 3%. Well, guess what? That's more than you would spend on life insurance. But $515,000 subtracted from $1,674,000. I've got government reports to give you a copy of tonight that says the average family spends $155,000 just in fees in their 401k, based on a lot less money than $1 million. But on $1 million, you would spend half in fees over the course of your lifetime, which means you've eroded that $1,674,000 by a bucket load. But then you got to pay some taxes. Our actual rate of return went to a negative 1.60 once you factored in fees and taxes. You still got $772,000 left of the original $1 million because you've done better. Life insurance has costs and expenses. You saw that at the beginning of the preview. We showed you all our costs and expenses. And even though we reduced it dramatically, there's still cost and expense. In this case, $403,000 based on a 50-year-old male. My rate of return's now fallen by 1% to 6.25, but I'm not done because I get to access every dime tax-free. Tax-free. And you own that magical vehicle. You've got one. And here you are right now, 241% better than all your counterparts who are out there throwing their money in their 401k. Well, maybe you're throwing in the 401k too, but we'll compare that later. Just keep that thought, because we're going to talk about that after we get done replacing this policy. But that's how your indexing works. Which one do you prefer, the blue line or the red line now? I bet you love that blue line, don't you? At that point in time, you run the illustration and do not run it for any different face amount than what they already have. If their face amount's $250,000, I want it ran for $250,000. You're going to run 2 illustrations, and you're going to put in place a max face amount, not a max cash value. You're going to leave them room to stuff the mattress, to add money to it, especially if you're able to move 401k money. You're gonna lay the groundwork, but you're going to run the illustration. And go, here you are. This is your new program. These are your new benefits. This looks great. Now, with that said, here's your death benefit if you pass on. Here's your living benefit if you pass on. And I'm using this on a max face amount. And here's your cash at the age of 100. And I'm showing the premium all the way to age 100. Now, you may opt to stuff this thing full of money so you can create income streams, and we can do that. So I've got to ask you the question. Before I do that, first thing I want to do is I want to find out right now, do you want to still do the same amount of money you're doing currently? Or do you want to do more? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say the same. Write the application, get everything signed, and get their policy, put the 1035 exchange, yes, any things, give them the number, let them call the home office in front of you. If not right then, have them call to stop the bank draft. Do not need to have 2 bank drafts. Collect a check. And you can do the void check and check off, collect the initial premium. I don't care. You can collect the check for the first premium. It's entirely up to you. But you're not done yet. I collect the void check, allows them to do your second part of the story. Now, put it away. Put it away. You've made the sale. You should close that every day of the week. You should not miss on this. This is not something missable. Now, ask the question. Besides this life insurance policy, are you saving money for retirement? Your computer's still out. You know, you haven't put a number on the application for the monthly premium. We can always change it. We've got an app signed. You left the premium portion blank because you might get the monster sale here. In fact, I'm going to show you how to do this now. This is going to swing the sale from $100 a month, $200 a month to $600, $700, $800 a month. This is exciting stuff. I say my for retirement. Yeah, my 401k, I get matching funds. Really? Great. That's super. How much do you put away? Do an apples to apples. Do not add in the insurance money. Run the illustration, extrapolate the numbers. Run the illustration, extrapolate the numbers. Take the cash flow and put it into the 401k calculator. Blow that thing up. Let me show you. Let's see here. Let's have some fun with this. Let's blow this puppy to shreds. Let that thing open. We'll get this open here in 1 second. Who's getting excited? I mean, who here realizes what kind of gold mine we have here? Let's look at this thing here. Let's have some fun here. Log in. We got to log in. This is a new illustration. All I'm just doing is I want to extrapolate some quick numbers. I'll leave it California for right now. Hit Flex Life, not provider, Flex Life. And I want to make this client 50 years of age. I'm going to make him preferred. But it doesn't matter. I'll show you rated up destroying the 401k. In fact, we'll do that today. We'll actually make that part of the game here. And we're going to go in here. This is going to be a max funded deal. You haven't done max funded, but you remember you got an app already signed and filled out, and all they got to do is change the premium. They're finding money, having some fun now. And you're going to see solve for, no, I'm not doing solve for premium, so I'm sorry about that. You're going to come down here, you're going to hit, not target, specified amount. I'm not going to put the 1035 exchange in right now. We're going to put a specified amount, and our specified amount, let's use my guy at $600 a month. And then we're going to go in here for distribution. We're going to hit solve for income. And I'm going to go here. I'm going to hit age. I've got to go up here and change the premium amount. Whoops, I did something. I got to put none there so I can get, I don't want them to get upset here. Computer's going to go nuts. I forgot to change this box up here. I don't know if it's going to let me in. Okay, so I'm going up here first. 1-age 70. Now I can come in here and hit solve for income. Is it letting me, or did I blow my machine up? I got to make this monthly. -age 70. And I'll make this none again, see if I can get this thing to stop comatose. Yeah, we've got it. We've got it. Gotcha. Now I'm going to solve for income. There we go. We got that box there. Now on the left-hand side, I got $305,000 life insurance. I've got a target premium of $6,915 on a $7,200 contribution. I can live with that. That's not too shabby. So now we're going to do a quick view. I need my cash flow. Let's see what the cash flow looks like. We scroll down. I've got $39,830 out of this deal. Let's go back up here to the calculator. This is the 401k fee calculator. Time to put my information in. I got to change my client's age. Make it 50 years of age. And he's putting in $600 a month. And here he's got a 100% match. And he's got a 0 value. I got my stock market return of 3.28. And now I go in here to my retirement income calculator. I'll leave it at 40%, and I'll put in my $39,830 of income. And voila. He had double the money with a 100% match, and in 5 years, I took him out. I had income projected to age 120, and he's out of money. That's why you don't save, sir, on the red line. That's why you don't keep putting money in tax predicament position. And you educate him, and you take that $600 off the table. Now, Carlos made a comment. Wouldn't it be nice if Jerry's calculator showed the actual dollar loss next to the percentage loss, then give a cumulative total showing overall money that could never be recovered and the money will not accrue interest? I agree. I like that. Suggest it. But you know what? These are powerful tools, folks. Here we are on a beautiful February 12th, and we're not done yet. The lesson is not done. You just replaced the life policy. You got in the house, replaced the life policy, asked the magic question, ripped out the 401k contribution on the same house. Now you got what? $800 a month? Are you getting happier? I hope so, but we're not done yet. Same or more. Adjust the info on the app, put it away, and have a heart-to-heart. 50 years of age, $800 a month isn't enough. You know, you got to do $1,700 a month to get $5,000 a month of income. Can't change that. We don't look bad creating $39,000 of income, but it's not enough. Because if I started at income at age 65, we'd be down to $15,000, $20,000 a year. And your budget doesn't allow you to save anymore. What if I could help you find the thousands a month you should be putting away? I'm not mad at you. I get it. I really, really get it. You don't make enough to save anymore. And we've made you 300% more money because your money's not going to run out. You're going to live into the 80s, and you had income for another 15 plus years. I kept my word. I got you 300% more. But you need more. You need to be putting away thousands per month. And if I helped you find the thousands per month, would you put it away? I want you to help me teach people red line versus blue line, tax versus no tax, income versus no income. Usually in the past, all I would do is ask you for a referral, and you'd give it to me because it would make sense to you. I'm not asking for just a referral right now. I'm asking for you to go into business so that we can increase your income stream. And even though your knowledge is not up to par, I'm going to tell you right now, on an entry-level contract in the financial services industry, if you help someone save $100 a week, and you're at the entry-level compensation, that's a paycheck of $1,440 take-home. Now, if we have to pair you with someone because they know what to say and you don't know what to say, you're a business owner and you will be able to hire someone with expertise. And we'll provide you a person of expertise to see people you know and help them learn the same things in your phone book that we taught you tonight. And you'll earn half. That will give you an extra $3,000 a month. If you tuck away half, look where you're at now. You were doing $800 a month. Now you're at, wow, $2,300 a month. Now we're making a difference in this household. Now you've got a shot at a great retirement. Let us help you help. Let us help you help others, and in the long run, help you get to where you need to be. That's the rest of the story. That's what we do. Any questions? John Medwin, any thoughts or things? Your mic is open. Any thoughts on what we just did today?
That looks pretty strong, Dave. Good gracious.
Can you handle that, sir?
What's that?
Can you do that?
Absolutely. I'm going to do it.
Do you realize how powerful what we did here today, what he just showed you how to do?
No doubt about it.
Is that worth driving up to Virginia?
Absolutely. I'm going to, for sure. It's worth the drive.
That's a pretty strong thing. I don't think this can be done over a computer, do you?
No, I don't. Much better sitting down face-to-face. Much higher closing rate.
Do you realize every one of those school districts that you were in, if you did this language, when you came across all that 401k money?
Oh, I know. I know it, for sure.
403b money? Do you realize if you would have sort of followed the steps we did right here, yeah, you would have replaced those contributions. And yes, you would have recruited those teachers. And there's nobody that was working in the school system wouldn't have found 3 or 4 of those a week to re-educate, to go tax versus no tax.
This is true.
And you're friends with the postal connections, Vernon, with all those postal workers. That's TSP with matching funds and supplemental life policies you sold all those years. Get me those file cabinets. I'm sorry the guy passed on, but get the file cabinet. Get the clients. Share the compensation with the widow.
Right.
But the bottom line is, make a difference. Every client counts, and it's got a chance to put your business in orbit. It's a process, and every time you bring a new person on, and when they opt in at the end and say, yeah, I want to help, and they've got 200 plus contacts on their phone, they've got 300 or 400 people on their Facebook. Wow. They do want to know red line, blue line. Believe me, they do. 200 plus contacts, even if you get to the top 10%, that's 20 appointments that need to be done. And if you're picking up 4 of those a week, now you got 80 appointments for the next month. You're never going to run out of prospects. And instead of being a cold call, now it's a friend leading a friend into a home. And that has been the model that helped us do last year, $17 million in life premium last year. Barriers unbroken. Lifestyles changed. I mean, let's face it, folks. It is a game changer. I'm going to go up to, I'm going to go to Bill Fugit in Colorado. Bill, how are you?
Good, sir. How you doing?
I am great. Are you following all this today?
Oh, absolutely. Makes me wish I lived in Virginia.
How about, does it really matter what policy you come across or what 401k money you come across? Did we not show you a directory of all the people you ever could want in Colorado just a few weeks ago?
Yes.
Is the money there for your taking?
Absolutely.
There's nothing left to the imagination. You could become this week a $1,000+ a week producer with this language. Should you study it? I don't know. It's up to you. But let's face it. How many people have jobs making $500,000 a year, Bill?
Not many.
Do you realize that with a little bit of homework and a little bit of effort, you're a $500,000 income earner this year?
That'd be a start.
It's a starting place. And would you put 20-25% back into your workshops, into advertising?
At least.
Will you become a stellar saver for me? Will you become a person that we don't have to worry about down the road?
Absolutely.
That's what this is all about. Folks, it's 1 minute on top of the hour. It's February 12, 2015. You were on the Daily Call. Have a great day. Thanks, everybody.